Folks, a couple of months ago, no one had heard about an atmospheric river. And now we hear every week about a new atmospheric river is coming through and it's bringing hundreds and millions of gallons of rain to Southern California. Well, of course, now we all know that atmospheric rivers are actual rivers in the atmosphere that bring in great amounts of water, either from around Alaska or tropical waters from further south. And it's really affected traffic and accidents in Southern California. Hello, I'm Eli Castronova. I'm a personal injury attorney, and I help people that are injured in rain-related accidents. You know, California had gone years in a historic drought where we thought that it would always be this way, that there wouldn't be flooded streets, flooded freeways, there wouldn't be trees falling everywhere, and there wouldn't be situations in which we have to drive differently than most people do. That's people in a hurry to get nowhere. But the last few months in California, and especially in Southern California, we've seen rainfall that we've never seen before. Our infrastructure was not ready for that, especially our roads and our freeways. People try to drive the same way in rainstorms as they do when the weather's good, and you can't do that. These atmospheric rivers bring so much water in such a short period of time that what happens is the freeways and the streets are overwhelmed. There are situations in which freeways are flooded, and the people driving down the freeways are driving 60, 70 miles an hour, and the roads are very, very slippery because when it starts to rain, there's all this debris from tires and from oil that has been deposited on the freeways, and it makes them very slippery. So cars tend to lose traction and they go out of control and crashes happen. Then you have situations in which the tires aren't actually even on the surface due to a layer of water, and you have cars hydroplane. Again, they cannot get traction on the road. You have situations in which trees are falling on streets and falling on cars, and they're causing accidents. And this is just happening everywhere. Since the massive rainfall started back in December, I have had dozens of clients come to me, and very many of them are related to rain-related crashes. I'll give you just an example of a couple of them. I have a client who was driving on the freeway, the 14 freeway, and it was raining very hard. And a gentleman decided to drive too fast, and when the traffic slowed down, he couldn't get control of his car when he tried to brake, and he spun around and hit 4 other cars, including my client's car, and totaled that car. The unfortunate thing in that case is that gentleman had what's called a minimum insurance policy. And so even though my client was hurt badly, there was only $15,000 in coverage that we could get from the other party. But luckily, the client had what's called underinsured motorist coverage, and we're now going after that coverage to try to fully compensate the client. So that's a situation in which people are driving too fast, and when traffic slows, they cannot control their vehicles. I've got 2 other incidents that are very similar that are rain related. The first one is a situation in which a tree fell, and the client was driving, and it was a fairly dark street, ran into the tree and was injured. Now, what do you do in that situation? Well, in that situation, it may be that the city was not maintaining the trees as they should, was not pruning them. was not making sure that they were maintained and that they weren't diseased, and that they wouldn't fall. And it could also be a homeowner who didn't take care of their trees. So in that situation, what you have to do is you got to find out, first of all, who maintained that particular area where the tree was. If it's on a median between the street and the sidewalk, it's very often the city. And if it's in an area in which there's no median, then it may be the homeowner. And all homeowners should have insurance that will cover this kinds of accidents and these kinds of injuries. And of course, the cities are self-insured. So part of our job is to investigate who owns that property where the tree is located, and whether they did not maintain the tree as they should have. There's another situation in which a client came into my office, and it was an intersectional accident. When we have these kinds of rains, very often what happens is electricity will go down in a certain grid in the city. And when that happens, very often traffic signals go out too. And that is a recipe for disaster, because people think that they can drive through an intersection where the lights are out and it's just a free-for-all. But what you're supposed to do under the law is that becomes a situation in which it becomes a four-way stop. You're supposed to stop before you enter the intersection, just as if there was a stop sign there. And then you can proceed when it's safe to do so. If people don't stop, then very often there's accidents. And that's what happened with my client. He stopped because he saw the lights were out. He started to proceed, and the car coming from his right did not stop and blew right into the intersection, T-boned my client's car, and injured him badly. So these are situations in which, if the other driver has adequate insurance coverage, then you can go after them. If not, you may be able to make a claim against the city for maybe trees that fell, that hit a wire that caused the electricity to go out, or a situation in which they didn't have backup or something of that nature. But in all these instances, these were crashes, many of them that didn't have to happen, and we're there to take care of clients, because we have been doing this for over 30 years. And even though it's been dry the last few years, we've represented clients in many rain-related injuries throughout the years. And so we know how to investigate these crashes and to get the compensation that's just and fair for our clients that are injured in these accidents.
Hi there. I am an AI avatar reading a real Google review by Graham Sorkin. Eli and his team are a perfect combination of highly professional, personable, but most importantly, effective. My wife and I were injured in a reckless driving incident, and Eli made sure that the process was as easy as possible for us, and that the resolution was quick and fair. We would absolutely work with him again. Thanks for your review, Graham Sorkin. It's appreciated.
Hi there. I am an AI avatar reading a real Google review by Amina Bolem. Eli J. Castronova is an excellent wrongful death lawyer. He is very professional and dedicated to his clients. He has a great success rate and is very knowledgeable about the law. Thanks for your review, Amina Bolem. It's appreciated.